Hello, everyone, and welcome to Symphony Banda podcast. My name is Shirley Korman, and I'm a host of this podcast. In each episode, as you know, you will hear from seriously smart and interesting symphonians about their projects, successes, and challenges. In this episode titled No Shame in the AI Game, we will explore why embracing AI is nothing to be ashamed of and how it can become your best buddy in work and everyday life as well. And we are diving into this topic with no one other than Juan Joze Torres Zamora, our lead automation engineer and real AI enthusiast at Symphony Solutions. I need to mention it. And Juan is not just automation guru. He is well known for his motivation and enthusiasm to learn and discover new stuff. Also known as Symphony AI Challenge winner. And the best thing people in Symphony know about Juan that he is a great teammate and a wonderful mentor. Hello, Juan. Welcome to our podcast. I'm really glad to see you here. And to be honest, I'm really thrilled about the topic we are going to discuss today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I think it's a very interesting topic. Everything AI related is just always going to be interesting in many, many ways, not just technically wise, but culturally wise and everything else in between.
Yes.
So very happy to be here.
Yes, definitely. There is not only, as you mentioned, yes, not only technical advice, but AI is already changing our culture and we need to adopt it. And that's what we are going also to discuss today. So, guys, grab your headphones and let's break the stereotypes about feeling ashamed of using AI at work. And Juan, from the very beginning to discuss this topic in general, I think we need to go behind the scenes about your, if I could say so, relationship with AI. And I would like firstly to ask and to tell you to our listeners, how has AI changed the way you manage your daily task as a lead automation test engineer and also just a regular person?
All right, that sounds good. So to start off, when AI first came out, I was very interested in about like all the things that it could do, and it was very exciting to see how it was evolving so quickly. I remember coming into the first few weeks and testing a few things here and there, seeing the results, and then comparing it a few weeks after and seeing how much it got better. I think when we speak about AI, we usually think of ChatGPT, but it's much more than that because now, especially now, I think we see that it's being integrated into almost every app, every service has some AI tool that has to be with it. So I think it's really interesting how maybe sometimes you don't necessarily go to make it part of your daily task, but whether you know it or not, it actually has an impact because sometimes we have been using tools that have AI processes within them. So it's not always clear that you're using AI, but you actually are. And for me, it has helped me. AI has really been like a second brain for me. Yeah, it's a place where I can just throw all my thoughts and my ideas. The fact that you can speak to it and it will record everything you're saying and it will turn it into text and then it will give you some sort of response based on that is really interesting because I think when we speak, it's a lot faster and we think about a lot faster than we type. At least that's the case for me. Like whenever I'm typing something, it gets sometimes I try to type faster because I think faster than I type, right?
And then you're some kind of not ending on this point you thought you will end.
Exactly. So for me, it has really been great because it allows me to put all my ideas into like a bucket, right? And then this bucket will give me back all my ideas again, but in an order way or with some suggestions, some remarks on some things that I might be doing good, some things that I may be doing that may be risky based on the project that I'm working on. And that's like career-wise but also personally, I also use it to help me realize some things. For example, the other day I went to I wanted to do some housework, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get some, but I didn't exactly know which tools I had to get for the project that I was working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no one to talk to and to ask for help. So I thought, okay, let me just ask AI, ChatGPT, if it can help me and figure this out. And it actually did. And not only did it help me figure out which ones are the tools that I needed, but it
Mm-hmm.
also suggested other things I need, for example, goggles to protect my eyes or gloves to protect my hands. So right there, I thought, okay, this is really interesting because I hadn't even considered the fact that this may be dangerous, a dangerous project,
You
right?
see, AI is
So
taking care of you.
yeah, it's taking care of us. Everyone thinks it's coming to kill us all, but I think it's the contrary.
Yeah. You know,
So yeah,
while you were talking, I was wondering because you as a lead automation test engineer, I was wondering because for me, I'm not a technical person, and I discovered AI, yeah, as a chat GPT. Yes, as you know that many people
right.
that it's only chat GPT, and as it was launched, then I discovered it. And I was wondering if you were aware about something big coming up like ChatGPT before it was launched. So you were definitely aware of it, yeah?
Yes, I was aware of the fact that AI actually existed, and I think that there are many AI has existed for a very long time. If you play video games, you
Yeah.
play with AI. Anytime that you did some sort of, even when you program and you create an if statement, that can be considered AI because it's something that's making a decision based on something that you're not triggering yourself. So I think when we speak about AI, it's good to differentiate between AI and large language models, right?
Yeah.
Which
That's
is what ChatGPT is. It allows you to process a large amount of data and then it'll give it back to you. But AI has been there for a very, very long time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely saw it coming. I didn't know it was going to be this explosive and this sort of like, I'm going to use the word invasive because it's pretty
Yeah,
much everywhere.
definitely.
But other than that, I mean, I did see coming along the way.
Okay, that's I also why I asked because as I mentioned, I'm not a technical person, and I knew always like from the films, from some science that AI exists, yes, but something like as I discovered, yes, AI, ChatGPT for me, it was like boom, something really unexpected for me. Maybe because I was not very deep into this topic. That's why I asked you. I was really interested about it. So I see like really in your daily life, in your maybe also personal life, AI is really invasive, yeah, as you have mentioned. And I am now very curious to hear your vision about our topic today and to ask you about, have you ever felt guilty about using AI in your work, Juan?
Well, yes, actually, in the beginning and when it first came out, I wasn't really hiding the fact that I was using it, but I wasn't making it explicit. I wasn't telling people, "Oh, I did this with ChatGPT," or "ChatGPT helped me do this and that." It was more of like I will give it my work, and sometimes I will get praise because of how quickly I have finished it, or how good it was written, or those are great ideas and things like that, right? So I would always in the beginning just like be aware, like, oh, are they gonna be okay if I say that I'm using
Mhm,
ChatGPT? Is it
mhm. So
gonna
many
maybe
concerns
like,
about it.
yeah, does it feel like I'm cheating when I'm using ChatGPT, you know? So definitely I did feel shame in the beginning because I didn't know what other people would think of basically my work. And I thought that it would take credit away from me by
Mm,
admitting that I was using ChatGPT, right? Um, so definitely in the beginning I felt that way because I also didn't know how much acceptance it would have, but as time went on, I started realizing that it was inevitable to use it because it's pretty much everywhere. And then I realized a few other things that, when you start using it in a productive way, It doesn't really matter whether AI exists or not if you don't have a clear goal on what you're going to use it for, right? It's like having a really, like, let's say an artist can have a canvas and paint,
Yes.
and the artist will create something amazing. But I can have the same exact tools, and my drawing is not going to be as good because he knows what he's doing with those tools more than I am. I think it's the same way with AI. It's just a matter of, this is a tool. What are you going to use it for? How are you going to present after what you learn? So definitely, but in the beginning, it was kind of like a risky move to start using ChatGPT, because also all the legal terms,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of things that go behind it. It's not just technically wise, but also like it involves a whole bunch of things that maybe we still don't realize how much impact it has had into other areas of just not just productivity.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that we even do not see the horizons, yes, of this AI
Yeah,
and all the terms,
yeah,
and
too
if
long.
we can call it like this. Yes, but in general, you told about this, but that you felt yourself risky, but then somehow you realized on this break point was did something affect you also here, like your managers, your teammates, your elevated performance? Yes, you saw that it's not so risky, but were there some another factor that affected your change of thoughts or change of mindset, thinking about it's not a shame, that it's more beneficial for me and I don't need to hide it anymore?
Right, right. Well, I think the break point was when other people started to using. For example, I'm a QA automation lead, but in my project I have a QA manager who works alongside me. And he's part of the client, I would say. So when I suggested, like, I have very trustworthy relationship with him. So I told him, look, I did this with ChatGPT, right? And he was surprised. He said, "Oh my God, that's so cool, because I didn't know that you could do those type of things." So I took a minute and I showed him how to do it, and I showed him all the things that ChatGPT could do. And when he realized, he said, "I'm gonna start doing it too, because this is just a way to work better." And that's when you stop and you think, everyone else is just like you. No one is, as long as you're not doing anything that's illegal or that's, breaking some sort of rule within the project, I don't think it's wrong. So that's when I realized that, okay, this is just a tool and I'm just going to use it, and I'm not going to hide it anymore. And so it was just, and then also the fact that, for example, here in Symphony Solutions, you guys have made a lot of space for us to talk about AI and talk about the usage of AI. And there have been many surveys on, like, do we need to use AI in our projects? You guys have talked about Copilot as well for programming. So the acceptance within the whole company has also made me not stay in the shadows, right? And come out and accept the fact that, this is the tool that we've been using, and we all agree that it doesn't make us any less of a professional because we're using it, but rather it's just another tool, just like
AI
any.
friendly environment, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Where we're not being shamed for using it, but actually encouraged to find out more and teach other people within the company about it. So for me, that was uh, a great breakthrough, that a breaking point where I said, okay, this is good. This is the type of company I want to be in, because they accept it's just inevitable. You're not going to be able to escape from it.
Very
So
cool.
might as well embrace it.
That's cool. I didn't know that fact, yes, and I really glad to hear it right now, because we are slowly moving to the point of the topic where AI is some kind of, yeah, cheaty thing for many
Mhm.
people, and you see it like a perspective, as a benefit, as companies that are using AI, they are not doing it in order to replace people with AI, but in order
Right.
to help them to grow and to develop. And I personally know that many people think they are kind of not, I am not sure if I can say afraid of, but they are staying some kind of a side of AI because they think if they will now use AI, AI will replace them. And now I have a question for you on this point. Why do you think some people feel guilty, yes, about using AI or naming it like they are ashamed of it? They think that managers will say to them that they are cheating or not doing their work. How,
Right.
or why do you think they are feeling guilty? Or maybe you have heard some people talking or something like this, rumor.
Well, I think it's not just about feeling guilty. I think a lot of people are afraid of becoming dependent on AI, right? So I think that's a very fine line between, whenever you start, it's like a crutch, right? So when you hurt your leg or your foot, you have to use crutches to walk. And then when your feet becomes good again, it's a little bit weak, right? Because you haven't been using it. So I think that people have two fears. One of them is becoming AI dependent, and the other one is training AI so much on what you do that it's doing it better than you are, right? Because we also don't have to lose sight of the fact that every time that we're asking something, we're training it, and we are training it to do what we do at our work, our daily job,
Yeah,
right?
it has a memory. Yeah, yeah. That's
Exactly. So it's like a double-edged sword because yes, it's helping you, but it might also come back to hurt you on the other side, right? So I think it's not so much about shame. It's more about fear, and also fear of being replaced, or giving the idea to the managers that what they do, maybe with five people, maybe one people with AI can be able to do it. And we don't have to lose the sight that there's no better intelligence than human intelligence, because we have the ability to react very quickly. We take other things into consideration, like emotions, things that still AI may be able to understand, but it won't be able to feel. So, whenever we communicate and we talk about different things, like let's say I have to give someone a review, I'm gonna have to take into consideration where this person is from, what language is their main language, because then the words that you choose to use will actually have a different impact, right? So maybe you're saying this the exact same thing, and you know that when you, for example, you receive a text, right? It's not the same that when someone tells you something. So maybe you send a text and they will read it with a different accent or a different
yeah,
voice. And
intonation, like feeling,
yeah,
yes, stoppings. Yeah, yeah, it plays a
exactly.
crucial role.
Exactly. And AI is very cold. It's very straight to the point, which is good. But I think that we as humans, we are sort of like a border, right? Like a filter between what AI tells us and how we deliver that information to other people. So I think it's just a little bit of that, like being replaceable, teaching it to do what you do, and also just not exactly knowing how to integrate that within your daily work without it having to make it look like your job is just something that can be done by AI. So definitely, I think that's where the main fear comes from using it or becoming dependent on AI.
Yeah, that's that sounds weird, but somehow I really understand what you're talking about.
And I also think, especially like there are some professions that are more likely to feel this. I don't know if it's with technology, because we have to guide it. Like whenever I use AI, I have to guide it through my thought process, what it is that I need to know, what it is that I need to accomplish, and then you have to also spot the errors that it makes, because it will make errors, right? And if you don't know anything about what you're doing, you can ask it for code and you can copy paste many, many times over, but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work if you don't know anything about what you're doing. So it definitely also needs some sort of knowledge on the topic that you're working
Yeah,
on.
some kind of tracking, I don't know, because I know what you're talking about. I'm not working with AI or ChatGPT in meaning of some numbers, but I'm working with ChatGPT, for example, regarding using like or creating some text. Yes, helping me with proofreading it, and sometimes. Like, on the beginning, these texts that ChatGPT generated were just perfect. And now
Right.
Okay, no, I don't want it was already. It's boring. I'm
Right.
sick of that. Like
It has
let's
no
I will
feeling.
make some take the skeleton and use it to write it all by myself because we already are bored by this text by
Yes,
ChatGPT. Even if you give him or it more prompts, yes, it's still it's machine.
yes, and you can tell. And you have to make it personalized too, you know? Whenever I would write an email, like I wanted to tell someone and I have a whole bunch of information, I throw it into ChatGPT, and then it will create a text, and then you read it back, and you're like, that's not how I talk. That's not what I will usually send, right? So it's not just about copying and pasting, but rather using that as a guideline to rewrite it
Yeah, definitely.
and words.
But it's something that we have learned to do since the ChatGPT or AI, yeah, break
That's
like
cool.
into our lives.
Yeah, yeah, we've had to learn how to adapt the content that it gives us in order to make it feel natural now. And I think it's interesting because you start seeing blog posts that people have written by themselves, and then other people are claiming it's ChatGPT because it's very well written. So there's also like a fine line between, like, are we now thinking that we cannot create great things
Mhm.
because whenever we see something great, we believe it's made by
It's
artificial
fine. Yeah,
intelligence.
yeah, it's true. That's true, and it's
Yeah,
very important to mention it and to drive this line also, and to guide it. And now I was wondering, because you shared the story that you had this feeling, yes, about feeling some kind of ashamed of using AI in your work, yes, and to tell about it, not to hide it. And what would you say to those who see using AI as cheating, as advice?
right. Well, I think they have to, if someone sees using it, so let's say that there's a manager that thinks that using AI is cheating, they should learn more about what their employees are doing or what their coworkers are doing. Because if you start asking, okay, how are you using AI? What is it giving you? How has it helped you to perform better? If you think about it, why would you want to take something away from someone that makes their work faster or more reliable, or maybe that person is able to maybe focus on other aspects of their
More
career.
important that ChatGPT cannot like do.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think this is really important. And I think we are more used to it when it comes to QAs because, for example, we've had this thing where we used to have only manual testers, and then automation testing came into play, and everyone thought that, oh, okay, no more manual testers. This is the end of manual testing because we're
Yeah.
not gonna have any jobs. No one needs us. And that's not true. There's nothing farther from the truth. The thing that automation allowed manual QAs to do is to focus more on the details and finding those pesky bugs that we're not going to be able to find by running repetitive scenarios. So I think the same thing happens with AI. So AI will allow us to, like, for example, with automation, we can run regression testing, we can run many scenarios at a very fast pace and have the results. But guess what? We're not gonna find new bugs. Guess who's gonna find the new bugs? It's gonna be the QAs, the manual QAs that are testing the new stories. They are creating the test scenarios. They are creating the test plans. It's the same way with AI. You are giving it information. You know what you want it to do. You know what the objective of the project is or what your task is. So I think to those people, I would say they should be more in touch with what their coworkers, I don't like the word employees, so what their coworkers are achieving with this tool, rather than shaming it. Try to understand it because otherwise you're gonna just be left behind.
Some kind of competitive spirit, do you like, you mean competitive spirit with your coworkers to be on the same page and not to stay somehow behind you?
Exactly, exactly. That's 100%.
Yeah, I think that's actually some golden rule for many centuries because, the science, the technology, the
Mm-hmm.
is developing so fast that in case you will not adapt and not learn how to use these new things, you will like always stay behind, and you
Yeah.
be the like not the leaky point, but you will become more vulnerable in order to be replaced.
Right,
In-
right. And we've seen it with many companies. Like, for example, do you know the company Kodak?
Yes.
So they used to be one of the biggest companies back in the day when we didn't have digital film,
Yeah.
right? Like we had to buy the products. Um, what are they now? Where was the last time you heard that brand before I mentioned it now, you know?
Yeah.
Um, if companies can stay behind and lose, when they've had millions and millions of dollars to invest into staying ahead of the game, imagine what can happen to a single person, right? The good thing is that shifting a single person's point of view is much cheaper and
For
quicker
the,
than using a whole company, right? So I think that's where our advantage is. The same way goes, for example, for Blockbuster, Netflix. Blockbuster used to send you used to be able to rent movies and DVDs back in the day. And then, they actually rejected some of the proposals. They had to have like live streaming and
Mhm.
things that Netflix ended up doing. And now it's kind of like at the levels of Hollywood when it comes
Yeah.
to budget and creating films, right? So I think people need to lose the fear of innovation. They need to lose the fear of replaceability and rather think about how can I integrate this into making what I'm doing even greater than what it already is.
Yeah, that's true. That's a golden, I would say, the highlight sentence. Yes, as a
Yeah.
summary of our speech today. So definitely, I also stick to the opinions in the very beginning. I don't know, and the beginning of the year, I think,
Hmm?
or previous year. No, previous year it was. I was the first thing that came to my mind as the AI was launched, and we had the very first events at Symphony. I only had one sentence in my head that either you will eat it or it will eat you. So
Right, right.
either you will know how to handle with it, or AI will find out how
Yeah.
to handle with you and finish you. If it may be very rude or something like this, but actually that's like it happens in the
Like
world, and that's
that's
a
life.
challenge the humanity yes have to accept right now. And I am
Absolutely.
glad we opened, yes, this topic. I hope really for now, for our audience, that something that now you have some brain for thoughts about maybe change your minds about AI, about using it, become more open to it. Yes, and we'll see
Yeah.
what will come next. Yes, because it's a whole new chapter in technology in the world. Yes, so stay tuned, not only for AI, but also for our podcast. Juan, thank you very much for being my guest today for a cool discussion of a very hot topic, I would say. I hope to see you in the next episode also with maybe some more discussing topics about AI, but I bet something new will come up. So
Definitely. It's coming out every day. So
yeah, definitely. So guys, stay tuned for AI, stay tuned for our podcast episodes, and have a great day ahead.
all right. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you guys.
Thank you.